What is up, fight fans? I am Jason Burgos for Sherdog.com, and with me is an all-new addition to the UFC's bantamweight roster. On the Week 2 edition of this year's Dana White's Contender Series, this man scored the fifth fastest stoppage in the show's history when he knocked out Brady Huang in 39 seconds. And that man is Texas's own Adrian Yanez. Adrian, congratulations on the win, the contract, and thanks for joining me to talk about it all.
Oh man, no, thank you for having me on, man. It's an honor.
Now, I have a ton of questions. Amazing, impressive debut for a lot of people that maybe didn't know about you yet until this point. But this was the fastest knockout win of your career, and almost by a full minute from when I was looking at it. Obviously, we all aim for a perfect scenario in anything we do in life. But was this a perfect result, and did you even surprise yourself on a certain level?
And I've been envisioning it for a very long time, ever since I first signed on to it, and then even whenever I first find out I was fighting Brady Hong, like Wong or Hong. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing
Yeah,
his
I don't even
name.
know how to say it
No, no disrespect,
either.
no disrespect. But man, like I've been envisioning it. I saw one of his fights, and I saw his most recent fight, and I just envisioned it, and that was just literally it was that combination, particularly the right hand left hook, that I envisioned my whole entire camp, and
Wow.
it was really cool to see that land, and then also, man, I just felt like I knew I was gonna do it. I I felt like this whole entire camp was just revolving around me, just looking for a finish, and then also it was there. It was there, and I'm just really happy that I had a breakout performance at that stage,
Yeah.
on that big of a stage. I'm just so happy that it was just on, like, to me, the biggest stage that I have ever been on. So I was really happy. I'm on cloud nine still.
Now you talked a lot in the post fight about like the extreme calm you felt minutes before the fight as you were about to start to fight. What would you chalk that up to? Like liking, just maybe liking the matchup, confidence in your preparation experience as a fighter, like you were kind of just mentioning, maybe something otherworldly, something beyond what we know that brought some calm to your heart. Just maybe no fans being there for this first time in your career, or was it maybe a little bit of everything?
Man, I say it's a little bit of everything, but I had this moment where they were showing the promo. They were showing the promo, and then they showed one thing that I've been leading up to is every time like things had gotten tough in my life or just in my career or anything, I would look at this picture of my father where he's walking, and that was the last picture I ever took of him.
Mm.
And for me, that's a big motivator, and it, it's a really big motivator for me, and it always makes me want to strive and push harder for what I really want to do in life. So when they showed that promo and they showed that, I remember just being like, I've worked hard for this.
Mm.
I've spent countless and countless of hours in the gym. This guy does not stand a chance against me. And then also too, like, it took me back to my first MMA fight ever, like amateur, even amateur. I was like almost on the verge of tears because I was so nervous. Like, I was nerve wracked, man. I felt like paralyzed. I felt like I couldn't move, and I was like in the stands, behind the stands where nobody can see me. And then I all out of nowhere, I see my dad, and uh, my dad came up to me and hugged me and just said, "You worked hard to do this, and this is what you wanted to do. So you
Yeah.
go out there and do it." So once he said that to me, it all, like, my nerves for that first fight went away, and it was like, to me, it was symbolism watching that picture of my dad before I even walked out. Like, I thank you to the promo people who did that, man, because
Yeah.
they put that picture up, and I just relaxed. I was like, okay, this is my time, this is my moment, and I'm gonna go. And then I was about to walk into the cage. I let a deep breath out, stepped, took my walk up the stairs, got in the cage, looked across, and was just like, I'm sorry, man, but this isn't your night.
You I'm glad you mentioned your father because I was going to ask about him too. Your father was a massive influence in your life before he passed away, unfortunately, 4 years ago. Were there points during the fight week or even the days since you achieved this massive goal that it has been kind of difficult emotionally to not have him here enjoying you on this, enjoying this with you, like you just mentioned, how big he was a factor in that very first fight? And were there certain things, you were told by family members during this time that was really helpful in staying focused, not getting mentally down on that?
Man, like, it's been a lot of helpful. It's been really helpful on my family's part because they were sending me pictures. They were sending me nothing but good, like good vibes and everything, saying that my dad would be proud of me.
Mm,
Like even before, they were just saying, win or lose, your dad was proud of you, and
yeah,
like this is the biggest step of your career. Don't like this is your moment. Just live it. Don't worry about what anybody else says. Just go after it, do you, because that's what your dad wanted you to do. He didn't want you to do this because he wanted you to do this. He wants you to do it because you want to do it. And that to me, like, calmed me a lot. Like just having the right support system, man. My mom was texting me the whole entire time. My girlfriend was texting me the whole entire time. My brother was there with me. So it was just really good. It just was a really good vibe. And then also, there was points and times where uh it did kind of hit me hard just because like if there was one person I wanted to be here, it would have been perfect. Like,
yeah,
hey, like my dad's here. And then the day of the fight, man, I saw that Dana White had reposted the video and the promo of the of of us during, for the Dana White Contender Series.
yeah.
Post the video of me and Brady, and that to me made it more surreal. And I started crying
Mm,
because I looked at my brother and I was like, man, like I was like, man, this is hard, this is gut wrenching, man. This is
yeah.
like this is crazy. I wish he was here. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, man, he is here, and this is great for me because I'm getting to tell my dad's story. I'm telling the story. I'm telling my dad's story to the whole world. And to me, that was a really big thing that whenever I saw that, I was like, man, that actually even made me cry even more because I was like, man, it's like my dad's about to be more famous than what I am, man.
In the post fight, you mentioned being willing to make your UFC debut on a week's notice, 2 weeks notice, considering you have the contract now and aren't taking your next fight just to get in the UFC. Is there a part of you that, on some level, wants to make the best debut impression possible, just like you did to the world on the Contender Series, and get in a full camp? Or do you feel like many sometimes fighters do? Feel full camps are maybe overrated for you, at least for you at this moment, and staying very active is the name of the game for you.
Man, I'm staying active, man. I want to stay active as much as I can. I this year, like before even like this contender series thing or this whole COVID-19 thing kind of went on, I wanted 4 fights this year.
Mm,
I wanted to fight. I wanted to fight 4 times every 3 months, just so I can get some in, just so I can stay active. Because
yeah.
my goal was in 2020 was to get into the UFC, and now I'm signed to the UFC, I'm like, all right, well, it fast forwarded, but I still want my 4 fights in the UFC. So as of right now, I talked to my manager and everything. We're in the process of making a fight happen. But man, I also told him, I was like, hey, I'm ready. Like, so if anybody drops out or anything happens, I'm here. I'm ready. I didn't take no punishment in that fight. The only thing was my left hand was sore, but now it's better. uh, and I'm still in shape. I'm still close to weight, so I'm ready to go whenever. Uh, but as of right now, something something should be lined up pretty soon, and I'll just take it from there. But I do want to stay active, so even if I get a full training camp for this, I'm gonna make a quick turnaround anyways, man, because I it, already have 1 fight this year. If I can put another 2 or 3 in, I'm cool. I'm dandy.
Now, fair enough. Now, of course, a Contender Series contract is not at the high end of money making UFC, or even maybe the middle end. I am not sure how much you have been able to like look at your contract stuff there, but is the amount you will be making now life changing? And I don't mean like you're rich now, you're gonna buy whatever. I mean that it brings stability where you can upgrade your lifestyle, where you live, better car, maybe not even have to work, like you mentioned, the post fight, not just being full time, not having to have a part time job too.
Look, man, if I'm able to fight the way I want to fight, I'll make more than enough. I'll make more than what I'm making currently. And especially, I live in Texas. Everything's a lot more cheaper in Texas. I'm not living in California where they just say $50,000 doesn't really do much for you.
Yeah.
$50,000 here in Texas is a good living. You're living a middle class type of life. So for me, if I can, if even if I have like get 50,000 a year, that's livable uh for me here. But of course, at the end of the day, we're all striving. We're prize fighters. At the end of the day, we're fighters and we're prize fighters. So, man, I'm gonna try to go for knockouts. So, man, if my first two fights, I get the $50,000 bonus on top of that. Man, I'll be living clean. I'll be able to quit. Don't have to worry about any of that. But I've already been looking to do the right things anyways. Even if like with this opportunity, I don't want to just be sitting on my butt.
Yeah.
I don't want to just be trained for do 2 or 3 day sessions. What I want to do is actually be teaching as well. So I want to be able to teach people. As long as I'm doing something consistently in the gym, that's what I want to do. I'm a gym rat. I love being in the gym. Every time I'm in the gym, I feel like I'm getting better. If I can help somebody else get better, that's what I want to do. Uh, so that's the route I'm looking to be in. I can't find myself working a regular 9 to 5 job. So that's why I was like, help me quit my job. Give me that extra cash so I can make sure I can for the next couple months. I'm good. I'm good. So like I can build up clientele and do what I need to do. And then after that, and off to the races. I just start fighting and fighting more and then just building, keep teaching and everything, man. So it's MMA is just what I really want to do. So it's helping me push me into the coaching into everything that I really want to do.
Like I mentioned, your relationship with your father is super close, and it was also talked about a lot how growing up you were watching boxing with him and stuff like that, and who were some of the fighters that you really loved coming up as a kid? Because I watched a ton of boxing also as a kid growing up. Like who were the ones you loved watching, and who were the ones that were like big influences? Like, yes, I want to punch people in the face for a living.
Man, the first one that comes to mind was definitely Manny Pacquiao. Manny
Mm,
Pacquiao to me was it. And I don't know. I think it was just because he was so small, but yet he was also so aggressive.
yeah.
He was always coming in and just always wanted to shoot off his power hand. He was like, "I'm gonna knock you out. I'm gonna go after
Mm-hmm.
you. I'm gonna knock you out." So he was like the guy for me. I would always look at him and just be like amazed, because man, to me, he was like the best. And then also he's a great person.
Yeah.
Like man, all in all, he's a great person. Then later on in life, that's whenever I started like doing a little bit more research and started finding out about Hands of Stone, Robert Duran, Roberto
Ah,
Duran,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Julio
yeah.
Cesar Chavez. That's whenever I started doing a little bit more research and started looking back in the history of boxing and looking at the Sugar Shane and
Mm-hmm.
Sugar Shane, and then also Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, then Sugar Ray Robinson, looking at all those
Mm,
fighters, all that
yes.
stuff. So I really love boxing, and it really pushed me into wanting to do a combative sport. So man, I kind of just fell in love with like the whole thing because I just knew I never was gonna be big. So Manny Pacquiao to me was guy
Yeah,
because he's 5'6", he's a small guy. He's like yes, like he doesn't
yeah.
talk very like loud or anything like that. He's just a small little guy. So uh like to me, I admired that. I was like, man, when he gets in that ring, he's ferocious.
Yes, yes.
But when he's outside and he's done after the fight, he's like, yes, it was a good fight. It was a good fight. And then I'm here and I'm just like, I admire that so much. I love it. I love when a fighter can turn it on in the ring, but outside the boxing ring, he's not a jerk. So I love it.
I
I admire. admire him.
I am impressed not only that you have earned a UFC contract, broke records in it, but you also do a pretty good Manny Pacquiao impersonation. Fantastic.